Good evening once again, YouTube. Here's to you. Hell's Unicorn here once again, lurking as I always do here in the darkened forest of William Penn. And I decided I was going to put my 2 cents worth in about the whole VenomFangX's situation. It's interesting. I came to YouTube at around the same time that he did, and around the same time that most of the people that are now cheering his demise came here. And in the entire 3 years that I was here along with him and the others, I never once subscribed to his channel, never once really saw the point of following him. And the reason for that primarily is because I've always had a large amount of skepticism towards the modern American evangelical movement. And people are naturally going to say to me, well, why is that? You know, you're a Christian. I mean, you're a confessing Christian. You're a conservative. I mean, you're a social conservative. You must have a lot in common with them. Before you go any further, a few minute differences in one's views on religion can make all the difference. And although I didn't find anything outwardly wrong with VenomFangX himself, and I'm talking about the guy who was mostly on the channel throughout the 3-year duration, the younger guy, not the older guy. I don't know his name, and quite frankly, it doesn't make much difference to me. But something about him just kind of didn't really gel with me. He reminded me a little bit of Kirk Cameron. And you know, again, I don't really have anything really strongly against Kirk Cameron. It's just whenever I encounter people that have this space Casey kind of, you know, the spirit, I feel the spirit flowing within me, I feel God's love. What that comes across as to me is a Christian who did nothing but read the Gospel of John and think that Christianity is mostly about, you know, fluffy rainbows and nice heavenly unicorns hopping around, not evil burning ones like the one that my channel avatar is. But the truth is that Christianity is a very complex belief system and a very complex take on human history, or at least the human history that it denotes, so to speak. It tells history from one particular viewpoint. That's one of the complaints that I hear from a lot of non-Christians. But suffice to say, I put a greater importance on people who already believe having proper doctrine than I do putting stock in the idea of going around and trying to convert atheists. Quite frankly, I think that's a complete waste of time. I have no interest whatsoever in explaining to people like Thunderfoot, the Amazing Atheist, or others like them why I think they're wrong. Because what would it accomplish, honestly? Those people aren't going to listen to me. I mean, they're definitely not listening to somebody who concentrates on trying to do that sort of stuff, so why would they listen to me? The answer is they won't. You want to know why they won't? Pick up the Bible. It's pretty explicit in Paul's letters why that is. But people are saying, you know, people that are sort of on his side, I mean, he had a large number of subscribers, I think largely because he was a favorite whipping boy of some of the more popular atheists here on YouTube. That's probably what made him as popular as he was, because he was seen as somebody who stood up to the adversary rather than cowered and, you know, hid behind the block button. But that's not really the way I saw it. I saw him as being a person who decided to take the wrong approach to this. And I agree to in a large respect with Gerard Paul, the pro-life guy, who's one of my friends on here, in that he could have done a lot more. And I would take that a step further by saying that with the time that he was here, he could have been a lot more productive talking and conversing with the faithful rather than going around yamming it up with the unfaithful. There's not really anything to build off of when you're talking with somebody who thinks that the Bible is a bunch of dead letters or a fictional novel. I mean, there's nowhere to go from there, so whatever. There's enough Bibles out there floating around in bookstores that if somebody wants to get started, they can get started. It's very unlikely that anybody can be convincing enough to get somebody to look at it a different way. I don't care how consistent you are doctrinally. You know, the best efforts will do nothing but harden the reprobate. But in terms of VenomFangX's alleged improprieties, which were spoken about by some of his detractors, I don't know enough about it to really comment on the validity of the issue, whether or not he actually was guilty of all this stuff. But the fact that this stuff came up is something that is not really entirely unsurprising. There is a lot of rampant corruption in modern evangelical churches, particularly televised ones. And the fact that VenomFangX might have engaged in some false copyright claims is something that I find very revolting personally. I have been the victim of several false copyright claims. One of them by a pastor by the name of John Hagee, who has a ministry and is a huge apologist for Israel and sort of at the forefront of the southern variant of Christian Zionism, something which I don't support and I vocally oppose. So I don't really feel sorry that VenomFangX has left YouTube. Not going to miss him. I'm not glad that he's gone either. I'm kind of neutral on the whole thing. But I will say this to those of you out there who are Christians and who are subscribers to my channel. The fact that he has slipped up is something that we all have to go through. The difference between being a believer and being a non-believer is a believer learns from their mistakes through being punished for them. The correction that comes from God softens the faithful while it hardens the wicked. And I have a feeling that VenomFangX will probably be back at some point, and when he does come back, he'll be a little older and a little wiser, and in the end he'll be better for it. That's basically my piece on the matter. With prudence to myself and benevolence to all of you, good evening.